Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air in the West. The images coming in. Israel launching its retaliatory strike against Iran. Also tonight, the new national poll, Vice President Kamala Harris, former President Donald Trump, where this race stands. And tonight, the McDonald's deadly E. coli outbreak widens. The CDC this evening on the growing number of cases and where. Vice President Kamala Harris blasting former President Donald Trump for calling America, quote, a garbage can for the world. Trump making the comments when talking about the border. Tonight, Trump and his rally on immigration saying he'll fix the problem. Harris saying the number of undocumented immigrants now is actually lower than when Trump left office. And she says she'll fix the problem with the bipartisan bill Trump helped kill. And this evening, Harris now in Texas, a major rally on reproductive rights. Thousands lining up for this event. Tonight, McDonald says the deadly E. coli outbreak is expanding. The number of cases now and how many restaurants now affected. Tonight, 24 hours after the Los Angeles district attorney called for the resentencing of the Menendez brothers, how the brothers are now reacting and how soon could they potentially go free. The breaking headline tonight, sources telling ABC News Chinese hackers attempting to get into the phones of both campaigns, getting into the cell phones formerly used by Donald Trump and running mate J.D. Vance. Several carriers affected, Verizon and AT&T included. Can the Chinese get access to text messages, phone logs, even conversations here in the U.S.? What Pierre Thomas is learning right now. The horrific images coming in, video showing a head-on collision between a New Jersey transit bus and a wrong-way driver, 24 injuries. And the World Series, the starting pitchers tonight, and how they started as boys with baseball dreams.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We do begin with breaking news tonight. Israel has launched its retaliatory strike against Iran. ABC's Soufi Burridge in Israel with the details just coming in tonight.
Tonight, Israel unleashing its long-awaited retaliatory strike against Iran. Moments ago, the IDF saying it conducted precise strikes on military targets in Iran in response to that unprecedented Iranian missile assault earlier this month. Iran firing about 200 ballistic missiles towards Israel more than 3 weeks ago.
The regime in Iran and its proxies in the region have been relentlessly attacking Israel since October 7th on 7 fronts, including direct attacks from Iranian soil.
Iranian state TV confirming strong explosions heard around Tehran. And in the last few minutes, US officials confirming that the US had no involvement in the strikes, but was notified by Israel ahead of time. The US had been pressing Israel only to strike military targets, not Iranian oil or nuclear sites. The exact scale of tonight's attack still unclear. Israeli officials saying both offensive and defensive capabilities are fully mobilized, adding Israel has the right and duty to respond and to defend its people. Israel has been intensifying attacks on both Hamas in Gaza and Iran-backed Hezbollah militants in Lebanon. And David, we just heard from an Israeli official saying the IDF did not target Iran's nuclear or oil infrastructure. That is something the US had been pressing for. We know President Biden has been briefed tonight, the White House saying in a statement Israel targeted only military sites in self-defense. All eyes now, of course, on Tehran. How will the Iranian regime respond with this region on edge? David?
All right, Soufi Burridge tonight on the breaking news just coming in. Tom, thank you. Meantime tonight, 11 days now until Election Day, and there are fast-moving developments in the race for the White House. The new national polls tonight showing this race is a dead heat. A new poll just out from the New York Times and Siena College, their last one before the election, showing Kamala Harris and Donald Trump 48-48 among likely voters. The CNN poll out late today showing Harris-Trump 47-47. This could very well all come down to ground game and which side gets out the vote. Former President Trump in his closing argument tonight on immigration saying the U.S. is like a garbage can for the world. Vice President Kamala Harris calling those words another example of how the former president belittles our country. The vice president said in a town hall this week the number of undocumented immigrants now is actually lower than when Trump left office. And she says she'll fix the problem with the bipartisan bill that Trump helped kill so he could run on the issue. We have both campaigns covered tonight, beginning with Rachel Scott on the Trump campaign.
Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris calling out Donald Trump after he declared the influx of undocumented immigrants has made America, quote, a garbage can.
We're a dumping ground. We're like a garbage can for the world. That's what's happened. That's what's happened to her. We're like a garbage can.
Tonight, Harris was blunt.
I also do want to address the comment that Donald Trump made about America being the trash can of the world, whatever he said, something along those lines. You know, it's just another example of how he really belittles our country. This is someone who is a former president of the United States, who has a bully pulpit. And this is how he uses it to tell the rest of the world that somehow the United States of America is trash.
In the final days, Trump leaning into his signature issue of the border.
Under the Trump administration, we will end this migrant invasion and we will deport every last criminal alien targeting our daughters and our children, our families, other people's families. They're going to be gone. They're going to be gone fast.
But border apprehensions are actually down since the Biden administration took new executive action.
We have dealt with it such that, to your point, we now, as of today, as of our visit, have lower undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration than Trump when he left office.
And Harris has vowed to sign a bipartisan border security bill that Trump tanked because he wanted to run on the issue.
It would have done a lot of good. Donald Trump got wind of the bill and told them, don't put it forward. He killed the bill because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
It comes as Trump faces new accusations of sexual misconduct. Former model Stacey Williams says she was brought to Trump Tower in 1993 by businessman Jeffrey Epstein, who years later was accused of sex trafficking. She says Trump started groping her with Epstein standing right there.
He pulls me into him but talking with Jeffrey, they're looking at each other. And then it goes from being like sort of just me in his grasp to then his hands moving, and his hands would touch the sides of my breasts, not the front, but the sides of my breasts, my waist, and then slid down to my butt and just kept kind of running up and down my body while the two of them were carrying on a conversation.
Williams says she was shocked and froze. Shortly after the encounter, she says she received this Mar-a-Lago postcard from Trump reading, "You're home away from home. Love, Donald." The Trump campaign in a statement saying the claims, quote, 2 weeks before the election are unequivocally false. Donald Trump sat down for a long interview today with popular podcast host Joe Rogan. He has millions of followers online. The former president clearly trying to make a play for young male voters. Donald Trump then leaves behind those battleground states for a rally here in New York City at Madison Square Garden, where he's expected to start making his closing arguments, David, with just over a week to go.
Rachel Scott here at the desk tonight. Rachel, always good to have you in person. Meantime, Vice President Harris in Texas tonight holding a major rally on reproductive rights, joined by Beyoncé and Willie Nelson. Women and reproductive rights are part of her closing arguments, and the gender gap for both candidates with 11 days to go now. Mary Bruce on that part of the story from Houston.
Tonight, thousands of people lining up in Houston, where Vice President Kamala Harris will be joined by superstar Beyoncé to focus on women's reproductive rights, a core issue of her campaign.
This is not just a political debate. This is not just some theoretical concept. Real harm has occurred in our country. A real suffering has occurred. People have died. This is among the most critical issues that the American people will address when they vote for who will be the next president of the United States.
Texas is not a battleground, but Harris argues it is ground zero for the fight for reproductive rights, that the state's near-total abortion ban reflects the damage done after Donald Trump appointed 3 of the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade, something Trump brags about. Harris and her campaign highlighting the story of a Texas woman named Andrea in a searing new campaign ad.
Her blanket.
Andrea suffered a life-threatening infection when Texas law prevented her from getting proper treatment after she miscarried. Now she and her husband may no longer be able to have children.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion?
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form. Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free. You will no longer be abandoned, lonely, or scared. You will no longer have anxiety. You will be protected, and I will be your protector.
Harris counting on this issue to win support among women. Polls show a significant gender divide in this race. A New York Times Siena poll shows Harris leads Trump by 12 points among women. Trump leads Harris by 14 points among men. Trump has been making an all-out push for male voters with his campaign focus and his surrogates. Tucker Carlson raising eyebrows recently with how he described Trump if reelected, like an angry dad coming home to punish his children.
Dad is pissed. He's not vengeful. He loves his children. Disobedient as they may be, he loves them. Because they're his children, they live in his house. But he's very disappointed in their behavior. And he's gonna have to let them know. And when Dad gets home, you know what he says? You've been a bad girl. You've been a bad little girl and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now.
A stark contrast from Harris's message to women that in this election, their very freedom is at stake.
Ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. For freedom, like the fundamental freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do.
Well aware that abortion is the key issue for so many voters, Kamala Harris tonight is promising that if elected, she will fight for legislation to restore reproductive rights. And she'll be making the case here tonight in front of what is expected to be a packed crowd in a stadium that fits more than 20,000. David.
Mary Bruce on that part of the story tonight. Mary, thank you. We do have a lot of other news to get to tonight. The deadly E. coli outbreak linked to McDonald's is expanding. The CDC now reporting cases in 3 more states, a total of 13 states now. At least 75 people sick and 22 hospitalized. 1 person has died. And tonight we have learned 900 restaurants have been affected. This evening, why health officials are concerned about the danger from this particular strain of E. coli. ABC's Mola Lenghi in Colorado on this again tonight.
Tonight, the CDC says they've confirmed 75 cases of E. coli linked to McDonald's. The outbreak spreading to 13 states. While the cause of the outbreak has not been definitely determined, federal regulators are looking at raw slivered onions served on their quarter pounders as the likely source. Health officials are particularly concerned about this strain of E. coli because it can cause a life-threatening condition called hemolytic uremic syndrome, which can cause kidney failure. It's mostly common in young children.
The cramps were unbearable.
Clarissa DeBach got sick, but is thankful her 2-year-old son, who got some of her fries, didn't get a bite of her burger.
It's just really scary to think if he would have, by chance gotten a bite of it or touched it and then touched his mouth.
McDonald's supplier of the onions, Taylor Farms, says they recalled them out of an abundance of caution. And McDonald's has pulled the quarter pounder off the menu entirely in 900 restaurants in affected areas. They've also ceased doing business with Taylor Farms indefinitely. As a precaution, Burger King, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC have all pulled onions off their menus.
Well, David, more cases will likely be reported to the CDC by people who got sick weeks ago. But because of actions taken by McDonald's and Taylor Farms, the CDC believes, at least at this point, the ongoing risk to the public is low, David.
Mola Lenghi on this again tonight. Thanks, Mola. Now to the Menendez brothers. Tonight, 24 hours after the Los Angeles DA recommended a judge re-sentence them. Their lawyer tonight on how the brothers are responding to this news and how soon they could potentially go free. Matt Gutman, again from Los Angeles.
After 35 years in prison for the shotgun murders of their parents, the fate of the Menendez brothers is now in the hands of a judge who will decide if they should be resentenced and eligible for parole. Their attorney says Eric and Lyle are hopeful.
I think they're cautiously optimistic that they can see some real relief at this point.
But even if the judge supports the DA's new push for parole, the Department of Corrections says it could be 6 months before the case goes to the parole board. The district attorney telling us he weighed multiple factors, including the brothers' sexual abuse by their father and their transformation in prison.
Was there one piece of evidence that came to light that got you and was one of the deciding factors in your decision?
Well, there were many, right? I mean, look, they were in prison for 35 years and they had no hopes of ever getting out. And yet they went on to not only do things to better themselves, but they spent a lot of time working and helping other prisoners.
So, David, if a judge rules in their favor, it could be at least another 6 months before the parole board gets the case, then another 5 months before Gavin Newsom weighs in, which means it could be at least a year before they are released. But there is a separate track for the brothers' release with a hearing scheduled for late November. David.
All right, Matt Gutman in L.A. tonight. Matt, thank you. Now to the breaking news involving China. Tonight, sources telling ABC News that Chinese hackers have tried to get into the phones of both campaigns, targeting phones formerly used by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. They say this goes beyond the campaigns, and multiple providers have been affected. So did they get phone logs, text messages? Could they listen to conversations? Let's get right to our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, tonight. Pierre, what do we know so far?
David, we're learning tonight Chinese hackers have targeted cell phones connected with both campaigns as we enter the final phase of the presidential race, including phones formerly used by former President Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance. We're also told that phones associated with the Harris-Walz campaign were targeted as well. Sources telling us the hackers breached a number of major service providers, including AT&T and Verizon. The question tonight, how far were they able to go? The FBI is trying to determine if the Chinese were able to access phone logs or even read text messages and emails. U.S. officials have been warning for weeks as we get closer to Election Day that China, Russia, and Iran have stepped up their efforts to hack. David, tonight, that appears to be the case.
Yeah, an alarming development for sure, Pierre. Thank you. Next tonight here, President Biden at a reservation in Arizona making a formal and emotional apology today to Native Americans for the system of government-run boarding schools that forced generations of Native children from their families and tribes.
One of the most horrific chapters in American history. We should be ashamed. A chapter that most Americans don't know about.
For more than 150 years, until 1969, more than 18,000 children were taken away to assimilate them into white culture. Many were abused. An estimated 1,000 are believed to have died. The president calling it, quote, one of the most horrific chapters in American history. When we come back this Friday night, the dramatic images coming in now. Videos showing a head-on collision outside New York City, at least 24 injured. And tonight we remember a founding member of the Grateful Dead. Just outside New York City, a head-on collision injuring 24 people in Union, New Jersey. Authorities say a New Jersey transit bus was hit by a wrong-way driver right there, the car crossing into the bus's path. More than 20 passengers and the car's driver were all hurt. Everyone, though, expected to survive. When we come back tonight, remembering a founding member of the Grateful Dead and the World Series and images of the starting pitchers you've likely never seen before. To the Index, and we learned today that Phil Lesh has died, bassist and founding member of the Grateful Dead. He helped define the band's sound for 3 decades. Jerry Garcia once said, when Phil's happening, the band's happening. Phil Lesh was 84. When we come back here tonight, the World Series tonight and the images of the starting pitchers you've never seen before. Finally tonight here, the World Series, Yankees, Dodgers, and for the 2 starting pitchers, a shared dream. Tonight, 2 players on the mound, both the starting pitchers for this World Series, and both of them started with a dream. Growing up in Southern California, the Dodgers' Jack Flaherty and the Yankees' Garrett Cole. This is Garrett Cole as a boy more than 20 years ago, holding a sign, Yankee fan today, tomorrow, forever. And when he was signed by the Yankees, he brought that sign with him. And this is Jack Flaherty wearing a Dodgers hat as a young boy, always dreaming of playing for them one day. His teammates surprising him with a matching hat.
Do you recognize that? Being back here is just like being home.
Also tonight at the World Series, an historic first between Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani.
And Ohtani lights the fire!
It's the first time 2 players with more than 50 home runs in the regular season will face each other in the World Series. And tonight, both say they're ready.
It's an incredible feeling, you know, having 2 historic franchises like this going at it again.
Just very excited. It just feels like it's finally has arrived.
The World Series, East-West, Yankees, Dodgers, it's on. And I'll see you right back here on Monday. Until then, good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.